Just in case you're wondering, it's 465 steps up, feels like straight up, from the terrace level of the pyramid to this, the apex of the building. Call it the package toss scene around the world. Looks like somebody's getting a new computer monitor. The FedEx courier walks it up to the gate, A, rings the bell, or B, throws it over the fence. Ding, 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 ding. B is correct.
We've been some interesting places on behind closed doors, but never one like this.
Maybe one last selfie before we go.
Let's go down underground.
You know, just in case.
There we go, got it.
Hundreds of airplanes, millions of packages, all going different directions, all managed from this room near Memphis International Airport.
Well, welcome to Global Operations Control. We are the command and control entity for FedEx Express.
I've flown a lot of airplanes in my years as a pilot, but never a 737.
Maintain that good visual and flight attitude. It gives the pilot the warm fuzzy that...
Wait a minute, did you just say I'm flying a 737 and I have a warm and fuzzy feeling?
Yes, sir. Exactly
That's
right.
That's what I thought you said.
Right.
How about a left turn heading 340?
You're looking at the front line of a war against an enemy that could kill millions of people. This is the Biosafety Level 3 lab at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis, known as a BSL-3. Researchers here are developing vaccines to try to stop an especially deadly version of bird flu.
The potential threat is large. We just don't really understand how to quantify what that real threat is.
St. Jude's Dr. Richard Webby is the scientist in charge, a world-renowned expert on flu virus.
Essentially, we're funded by the US government to sort of be in the trenches.
The lab is part of the World Health Organization Flu Surveillance Network and studies live virus samples from around the globe. A TV news camera was never allowed until we were given exclusive access. To protect ourselves, we had to wear special filter masks and gown up in scrubs before even walking down the long hallway to the lab. Beyond the glass access door, scientists in the BSL-3 wear special suits with pressurized headgear to keep them from inhaling a virus known as H5N1.
Kills 50–60% of those people we know have become infected with that virus.
For now, bird flu seems to infect mainly people with direct contact with poultry carrying the virus.
On its own, it's probably not very infectious for humans, but if you do manage to contract it, then now it's a very serious infection.
The fear is it will change into a form that easily transmits from person to person, causing a global pandemic similar to the 1918 Spanish flu, which led to mass quarantines and killed as many as 100 million people.
What makes essentially a chicken virus change to become a human virus? We don't really know.
At the St. Jude lab, the virus is injected into fertile eggs as part of the process of creating new vaccines. Since the virus is constantly mutating, vaccines against it have to change too.
There is an inherent risk. I guess there's a risk with anything we do, just from the nature of the organisms we're working with.
But it is work scientists at St. Jude have been doing successfully for decades.
If we want to get the answers to the questions we need, then it's sort of work that has to go on.
FedEx delivers, on average, more than 8 million packages every day, but one of them has put the company in full social media management crisis mode during the company's busiest season of the year. Call it the package toss scene around the world. Looks like somebody's getting a new computer monitor. The FedEx courier walks it up to the gate, A, rings the bell, or B, throws it over the fence. Ding, 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 ding. B is correct. The monitor is broken. When the customer, known on YouTube only as Gooby55, posted the video, it instantly became a viral hit. And FedEx just about as quickly identified the culprit courier and began its social media response.
On behalf of all of us at FedEx, please accept my apology.
In its own YouTube posting, the Vice President of Operations tries to make things right.
This goes directly against all FedEx values. It's just not who we are.
A FedEx spokesperson says company managers went to the customer's home with a personal apology and a brand new monitor. She says the video is being shown to FedEx workers as a teaching tool, an object lesson in what not to do in a world where what goes online lives there forever. The courier video has been viewed almost 3 million times. The FedEx response, about 300 times. So absolutely, positively, a little catching up to do. Cameron Harper, ABC 24 News.
And a round cover will never fall into a round hole. That's why most covers are round.
Just one of the seemingly endless pieces of trivia known by Memphis historian Jimmy Ogle, who's going to lead us through that hole.
Geared up.
Maybe one last selfie before we go.
Let's go down underground.
You know, just in case.
There we go, got it.
Now we've got to go about 20 feet right there in that old crawl.
So we're going 20 feet down this pipe.
Okay, Jimmy, you are the official tour guide.
I think this is the best way to go, like this. Just kind of crab crawl like this.
Into the abyss, the sound of running water is not exactly the first thing you want to hear.
Your eyes will take a few minutes to adjust to the darkness.
Good thing we have TV lights.
Well, this is a large retention pond. It's about 300 feet long, 40 feet wide, about 20 foot tall. It's an old brick-lined cavern from before 1900.
Gayoso Bayou was once a wide swamp and a natural waterway on the eastern side of what is now downtown Memphis.
Those are stones. That's the old bridge arch right there.
But some of the structures are unknown.
And you can see where there were some former supports and windows. I mean, maybe they built this wall up and you could see through. I don't understand what all this is. Weep holes or something maybe.
The bayou is about 4 miles long.
You go underneath the right field of AutoZone Park.
Most of it is concrete tunnels, the grayness broken only by the occasional stalagmite of what appears to be primordial ooze.
Ooh, I don't know. I think it's a bunch of fluids and oils off the street surfaces, you know, oils from leaks out of car.
Of course, some items are more identifiable.
Someone tossed a gun.
Oh yeah, we found this. That's been in here since November, right there. It's just like a BB gun.
Oh, so somebody probably just tossed it away down here or
Came down in the storm drain.
I wonder what other criminal evidence has been found down here over the years.
I was a little gas tank over here if you want one of those.
It seems everything washes down the drain. Okay, what we did not see, rats, snakes, or other people. Since rain quickly fills that bayou to the top with some fast-moving water, it's nearly impossible for anything to live or nest down there for very long, although we did see a minnow or two swimming along in that stream of water at our feet. Hundreds of airplanes, millions of packages, all going different directions, all managed from this room near Memphis International Airport.
Well, welcome to Global Operations Control. We are the command and control entity for FedEx Express.
Dave Lusk is the senior manager of the FedEx Global Operations Center.
We manage the entire global operations 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
This is the place where the FedEx heart beats. What are we looking at here?
Well, we call this, kind of affectionately, we call it the warboard. The technical term is the asset tracker.
Those assets include 650 aircraft taking off and landing at hundreds of airports around the world. 1,200 FedEx flights come into the global super hub in Memphis every week.
I look at this and I see something that makes no sense to me, but I'm sure you guys can look at it and go, I understand exactly where we are in the world at this moment.
Well, it's a very good kind of a dashboard of what we have occurring at the exact moment and what's projected to occur in the future.
Each block on this board represents an aircraft and a plan.
It's a long day for work.
That's my alarm telling me I have to send the weather out to them. I'm an aircraft dispatcher. Click the button send, and the message goes straight to the airplane.
Ed Smith is managing flights across the Atlantic, providing information, weather, and whatever the crew needs to know.
One going to Paris, one going to Cologne, one to Frankfurt.
Dispatchers have the pilots back.
A good day is when the phone doesn't ring and they don't send me a message saying, I've got a problem.
We have the ability to go out and ping the aircraft to tell exactly how much fuel it has anywhere along the route of flight.
Can you tell what the pilots ate for dinner?
Well, we have the phone number of the catering department.
This room is also where FedEx watches the world for trouble.
Mainstream media is normally the first indication.
And the biggest trouble is usually the weather.
We're looking at high-impact weather events around the country, whether it's a typhoon in the Western Pacific, a snowstorm in Europe, or maybe a severe weather outbreak in the Central Plains.
FedEx meteorologists not only have to get it right for Memphis, but for Kuala Lumpur, too.
There's a storm over your Pacific tracks going
and keep an eye on volcanoes.
There happens to be one right here, the southern tip of Japan, volcanic ash, very hazardous to aviation. That's not good.
Cause the engine to stop.
Exactly.
FedEx's Global Operation Control is where they may have to manage anything.
We stay up late at night thinking about what possibly could happen.
You're in the cockpit, normal, with pilots preparing
Lights test.
for a Southwest flight from Seattle to Salt Lake City.
Takeoff warning horn.
All is normal
Set and cross-checked.
as they taxi to the runway.
Southwest 369, line up and wait. Only 16 left.
Rolling onto the runway, they are approaching one of the most critical moments of flight.
1,016 left. We're clear for takeoff. Southwest 369.
Takeoff is where everything has to be right.
Set. Takeoff thrust. Takeoff thrust set.
As the airplane picks up speed, it will soon travel beyond the point of safely stopping on the runway.
Heading nuts.
Both engines are running full power. The moment for takeoff arrives. At the same moment, the left engine fails. The pilots have few options. The only good choice to continue takeoff with a dead engine.
How's it ready? Landing gear up. Landing gear up.
This is Southwest 369. Engine fire at this time. I could have an emergency.
All of this is taking place in one of 8 $30 million full-motion flight simulators at Southwest headquarters in Dallas. Back inside the box,
Landing gear down.
the pilots brought the plane safely down on one engine.
We train everything from the mild all the way to the most critical, in which we just did.
Southwest flight instructor Mark Shue says this is far more than a sophisticated video game.
I look at it making them better, so if they ever get in this situation, that they can deal with it, and 143 people can go home and see their families.
So how realistic is it?
Now the auto throttles will stand all the way up to max takeoff power.
My turn to find out, sitting in the captain's seat.
Now rotate. Slowly, 1
I've flown a lot of airplanes in my years as a pilot, but never a 737.
Maintain that good visual and flight attitude. It gives the pilot the warm fuzzy that...
Wait a minute, did you just say I'm flying a 737 and I have a warm and fuzzy feeling?
Yes, sir.
Exactly
That's
right.
what I thought you said.
Right.
How about a left turn heading 340?
And on we went. I'm happy to report there were no complaints from the passengers.
Cameron, in 1978, I had my own horse.
And he was a champion. So when Aline Alexander took a job at Graceland 31 years ago, she already knew about horses.
When I looked out across the pasture, once I arrived here as a tour guide, there they were, the 5 that Elvis left behind.
Elvis often rode around Graceland on his golden palomino named Rising Sun, even riding up to the gates to sign autographs for fans. After his death, the horses were largely neglected. Aline got them back in good shape, and she became stable manager. Now, of course, there are 4 new faces in the stalls.
It's a beautiful stable. Who lives here?
This is Bandit, Blue-Eyed Bandit.
Hello, Bandit.
Bandit for short.
Bandit is a quarter horse rescued from an abusive owner in Fayette County.
This is No Candy, Just Cash, and we call him Candy.
Good boy.
Candy is a Tennessee walking horse with serious foot problems.
But now we pack his feet with memory foam like you sleep on.
Okay.
Then we wrap it with vet wrap and duct tape, and he walks well, and he's a happy boy now. This is Max of Maine, and we call him Max. Max came here all excited and lonely and didn't like to have people touch him. And
I think that's changed a little bit.
It has changed a lot.
Max was saved from a trip to a slaughterhouse in Canada.
And this is our Tucker, our golden palomino.
Hello, Tucker.
And he is a beautiful boy.
Tucker carries on the tradition of golden palominos at Graceland.
We're actually going to see one of Elvis's saddles.
Angie Marchese is in charge of the Elvis archives.
And the saddle here actually was custom made here in Memphis. It was made at the standard saddle shop on National Avenue. Elvis had horses for everybody, and in fact, this is a ledger from 1967, and it lists every horse Elvis bought, the date he bought it, and how much he paid for them, and exactly what type of horse that it was.
The barn, the horses, the riding. It was an escape for Elvis and his wife Priscilla.
She said they used to come here very early in the morning and just talk. This is Elvis the human.
There must be light,
the man,
burning brighter.
The person who loved an animal, the person who loved a horse.
Got to be burned.
The special about this place is that it's the flip side of Elvis. Our objective is to keep horses at Graceland. That's the family's desire, to keep the horses here.
There you go.